Welcome back to the channel, coin lovers hugging face sparkles. Today you're about to step into the secret world of $quarter coins. Tiny pieces of metal that can carry hidden history, shocking value, and life-changing surprises. Many people spend these coins every day without realizing that one rare quarter could be worth hundreds, thousands, or even millions of dollars in today's collector market. In this video, we'll uncover the most valuable $quarter coins, rare mint marks, error details. The 1967 Liberty $quarter from the United States is one of those coins that hides its mystery in plain sight, a quiet piece of metal that once passed through countless hands without anyone suspecting the storm of value sleeping inside it. At first glance, it looks ordinary, just another quarter from everyday American life. Yet collectors know that some coins are born in moments of transition, pressure, and change, and 1967 was exactly such a year. This was a time when silver was disappearing from circulation, minting methods were shifting, and small anomalies could turn a simple coin into a once-in-a-lifetime treasure. That is why whispers around this quarter have grown louder with time, transforming it from pocket change into a symbol of unimaginable wealth. What makes the 1967 Liberty quarter so fascinating is not just its date, but the story behind its creation. It came from an era when a U.S. mint was pushing massive production, often working at extreme speed to meet demand. In such conditions, perfection sometimes broke, and those tiny breaks, striking irregularities, unusual surfaces, and rare die characteristics, became the secret fingerprints of fortune. Coins struck slightly off, with unexpected textures or dramatic visual differences, are the ones that make seasoned collectors' hearts race. When such a coin survives decades untouched, its value doesn't just rise, it explodes into legend. Collectors often say that this quarter is not about silver content or face value, but about rarity locked inside sameness. Millions were made, yet only a microscopic number carry the traits that elevate them beyond normal classification. These exceptional pieces are the kind that never stay long in public view, often moving quietly through private collections or vaults. When one finally appears, it sends shock waves through the collecting world because it represents something money cannot easily buy, a perfect storm of condition, rarity, and historical timing. That is where the talk of millions begins, not from exaggeration, but from scarcity so extreme it borders on myth. Condition plays a powerful role in turning this coin into a life-changing object. A 1967 Liberty quarter that looks as if it was struck yesterday, with sharp details, glowing surfaces, and untouched edges, is already special. But when that pristine condition meets a rare minting anomaly, the coin steps into an entirely different universe of value. Such pieces are not compared to ordinary quarters. They're compared to masterpieces. They are examined under magnification, debated by experts, and remembered by reputation long after they change hands. The emotional power of this coin is just as important as its technical features. Stories circulate of people finding one in an old drawer, a forgotten roll, or an inherited collection, never realizing they were holding a financial turning point. That is why collectors always warn, never rush, never clean, never spend a coin like this casually. One careless decision could erase a fortune in seconds. In the right hands, with patience and knowledge, this quarter can stand as the dividing line between an ordinary life and an extraordinary one. What truly fuels the fascination is the idea that this coin still exists out there, unnoticed, blending in with common change. Unlike famous rarities that are already locked away in museums, the 1967 Liberty quarter carries the thrill of discovery. It suggests that destiny doesn't always announce itself loudly. Sometimes it whispers from the bottom of a coin jar. That possibility keeps collectors searching, examining, and dreaming, because the next legendary find could belong to anyone. In today's market, where rare collectibles command breathtaking attention, coins like this are no longer just hobbies. They are assets, status symbols, and stories of transformation. When a rare example surfaces, it doesn't simply sell. It creates headlines, rivalries, and long-term legacy value. Ownership becomes about more than money. It becomes about being the caretaker of something history almost lost. That is why serious collectors treat such coins with reverence, not haste. So if you ever come across a 1967 Liberty quarter that feels different, looks sharper, or carries an unusual presence, pause before you act. This is not the kind of coin you trade for convenience or curiosity. It is the kind that rewards patience, research, and respect. In the world of rare coins, fortunes are not always made by what you earn, but by what you recognize and protect. And this quarter, in the right form, has the power to change everything overnight. The 1965 Liberty quarter wrapped in mystery, transition, and the kind of legend that keeps coin collectors awake at night. 1965 was not just another year in American coinage. It was the moment the United States quietly turned a page on silver, replacing it with modern clad metal. Because of that historic shift, any quarter connected to Silver-era Liberty designs and dated 1965 instantly becomes the center of intense curiosity. Collectors believe this year represents a hidden doorway between two worlds: the old America of precious metal money and the new age of circulating coins. That alone gives the 1965 Liberty Associated quarter an almost mythical status. What truly fuels the imagination is the idea that a small number of extraordinary 1965 quarters were never meant to exist at all. During periods of change at the U.S. Mint, mistakes, experiments, and transitional strikes can occur. Coins can be struck on the wrong metal, with unexpected dies, or under unusual conditions that were never intended for circulation. When such a coin escapes into the public, it becomes a silent survivor of a minting secret. A 1965 quarter linked to Liberty-era silver characteristics is believed by collectors to be one of those survivors. Rare not because it was planned, but because it slipped through history unnoticed. The value of such a coin is not just about metal or age. It is about story, rarity, and timing. Millions of ordinary 1965 quarters exist, but only a microscopic number are considered extraordinary. If a quarter from this year shows unusual weight, silver composition, sharp strike quality, or design elements that feel out of place for 1965, it immediately steps into a different universe of worth. At that level, pricing no longer follows catalogs or price guides. Instead, wealthy collectors and elite auction houses decide the value, sometimes pushing it into unimaginable territory. This is where the dream of overnight fortune is born. History has proven that a single rare U.S. coin, unknown for decades, can suddenly surface and shock the world. When collectors compete for something unique, logic disappears and desire takes control. A genuine, confirmed ultra-rare 1965 Liberty-related quarter could command life-changing money, not because it is gold or silver alone, but because it may be one of a kind. Coins like that are not bought by average buyers. They are hunted by investors who see history as wealth. That is why experts always warn, never rush to sell a suspiciously rare coin. What looks ordinary to the untrained may be a once-in-a-generation discovery. Cleaning it, polishing it, or selling it cheaply could destroy its story forever. True value only reveals itself through careful preservation, professional authentication, and patience. Many legendary coins were ignored for years before the world realized what they were worth. Fortune favors the calm collector, not the impatient seller. The fascination with the 1965 Liberty quarter also comes from its symbolic power. It represents the final breath of silver-era American coinage and the birth of a new monetary system. Owning a rare coin from that moment is like holding a piece of financial history frozen in time. For collectors, that emotional connection often matters as much as money. It is not just a coin. It is proof that history can still surprise us, even in our own pockets. In today's market, where rare coins are treated like fine art, the ceiling for something truly unique is almost limitless. Prices are driven by competition, prestige, and the fear of missing out. If a 1965 quarter genuinely breaks the known rules of minting, it does not get compared to other quarters. it stands alone. That is how values reach levels people once thought impossible. One discovery can rewrite price records and turn an unknown owner into a headline overnight. So if you ever come across a 1965 quarter that feels different, heavier, sharper, or simply wrong in the right way, treat it with respect. Do not dismiss it. Do not rush it. Sometimes fortune hides in the most ordinary places, waiting for the right moment to reveal itself. Coins like this remind us that history, luck, and patience can align in a single instant. And when they do, a small piece of metal can change a life forever. The 1972 Liberty quarter dollar instantly sparks curiosity, mystery, and excitement among coin lovers, because it sits at the crossroads of legend and possibility. While most people casually spend quarters without a second thought, a tiny number of coins from this era carry stories so unusual that they feel almost unreal. This is the kind of coin people overlook in drawers and old jars, never imagining that a single piece of metal could hold the power to completely rewrite a person's financial destiny. That is why collectors whisper about it, search for it, and treat it with almost mythical respect. What makes the 1972 quarter so fascinating is not the ordinary version most people know, but the rare, unexpected variations that escaped the mint unnoticed. Coins are supposed to be perfect, yet sometimes the minting process creates extraordinary anomalies. Details that shouldn't exist, designs that appear slightly wrong, or strikes that feel different the moment you hold them. These mistakes are not flaws to collectors. They are miracles. A single unusual detail can turn a common coin into an object of intense desire, chased by wealthy collectors who are willing to pay astonishing prices to own something truly unique. The word liberty adds another layer of intrigue. Liberty is more than a design. It represents freedom, history, and national identity. When a quarter unexpectedly shows features that echo older Liberty-era designs, or carries a mysterious look that doesn't align with standard issues, it becomes a conversation piece that stops experts in their tracks. Such coins feel like they don't belong to time itself, as if they slipped through history by accident. That sense of being out of place is exactly what fuels their value and their legend. Condition plays a silent but powerful role in this story. A rare coin in poor shape loses much of its magic, but one preserved in exceptional condition feels almost sacred. Sharp details, original shine, and untouched surfaces can elevate a rare quarter into an entirely different category. Collectors don't just buy metal. They buy preservation, authenticity, and a feeling of holding something that survived decades without losing its soul. When rarity and condition collide, values can rise to levels that sound impossible to ordinary people. There's also the emotional side of collecting that many underestimate. Wealthy collectors are not always driven by logic alone. They're driven by obsession, competition, and pride. Owning a coin that few others even know exists becomes a personal victory. When two collectors want the same ultra-rare piece, price stops being rational. This is how certain coins leap from modest value into life-changing territory, not because of hype, but because desire has no ceiling. This is why anyone who believes they have an unusual 1972 quarter should never rush to sell it. The biggest mistake is letting impatience steal potential fortune. A coin like this must be studied, protected, and handled with care. One careless deal, one uninformed sale, and the opportunity of a lifetime can vanish in seconds. History is full of stories where rare coins were spent or sold cheaply, only to later be revealed as treasures worth unimaginable sums. The real power of such a coin lies in its ability to change perspective. Suddenly, an ordinary person becomes the owner of something the world wants. That shift alone is transformative. It turns curiosity into confidence and caution into strategy. The coin doesn't just hold value, it holds leverage. It gives its owner time, options, and the ability to choose the right moment to reveal its true worth. In the end, the legend of the 1972 Liberty Quarter is not just about money. It is about awareness. It reminds us that extraordinary value often hides in ordinary places. A single coin, overlooked for decades, can carry the power to rewrite a future overnight. So if such a quarter ever finds its way into your hands, don't treat it like spare change. Treat it like a silent key, because the right key, used at the right time, can open doors to a fortune beyond imagination. The 1993 Liberty Quarter Dollar is surrounded by stories that sound almost unreal, the kind of whispers that travel quietly among collectors and suddenly explode into legends. To the average person, it looks like an ordinary coin passed from hand to hand without a second thought. But to those who truly understand coins, this particular year has become a symbol of hidden fortune, a reminder that history sometimes disguises its greatest treasures in the most familiar forms. What makes this coin powerful is not just metal or date, but the mystery tied to it, the possibility that one silent piece could carry a value so high it can rewrite a life overnight. In rare situations, coins are born different. A small change during production, a moment of imbalance, or an unnoticed variation can turn an everyday quarter into something extraordinary. The 1993 Liberty Quarter is spoken of in this way, not as a regular issue, but as a coin that may exist in ultra-rare forms, strikingly unique and nearly impossible to find. These rare versions are believed to have details so sharp, surfaces so perfect, or features so unusual that collectors are willing to chase them endlessly. When such a coin appears, it doesn't just attract attention, it commands silence and respect. What truly fuels the imagination is the idea that this quarter could still be hiding in plain sight. It may rest in an old drawer, a forgotten jar, or a worn wallet, waiting for the right eyes to notice it. The thought that a single coin, no larger than your thumb, could hold a value reaching into the millions is what gives this story its power. It transforms ordinary change into a symbol of hope, proving that fortune doesn't always arrive loudly. Sometimes it arrives quietly, disguised as something you've held 1,000 times before. Collectors are drawn to this coin not only for its potential price, but for what it represents. It represents the thrill of discovery, the idea that patience and awareness can lead to unimaginable rewards. A 1993 Liberty Quarter with rare characteristics is not something to rush into selling. This is the kind of coin that demands time, study, and the right moment. Selling it too quickly, without understanding its true nature, could mean losing a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to change your destiny. The reason such a coin can reach astonishing value is simple. Rarity creates desire, and desire creates power. When only a handful of examples are believed to exist, collectors compete not with money alone, but with pride and legacy. Owning such a coin is like owning a piece of untold history, something that cannot be easily replaced. This is why stories of million-dollar quarters continue to circulate, keeping hope alive among those who search carefully and refuse to underestimate what they find. This coin also carries an emotional weight that goes beyond numbers. Imagine realizing that something you nearly spent on a cup of coffee could instead secure your future. That moment of awareness can be life-changing. The 1993 Liberty Quarter has become a reminder to slow down, to look twice, and to respect the small things. It teaches that wealth is not always announced, and that sometimes destiny hides inside the most ordinary objects. If you ever come across a 1993 quarter that feels different, looks sharper, cleaner, or simply unusual, treat it with respect. Protect it, study it, and never rush. Coins like this are not meant to be sold in haste or fear. They are meant to be understood, preserved, and revealed at the right time. History rewards those who wait, and this coin is said to reward patience more than most. In the end, the legend of the 1993 Liberty Quarter is about possibility. It is about the idea that your life can change in a single moment, sparked by something as small as a coin. Whether it is resting in your pocket today or waiting to be discovered tomorrow, its story continues to inspire dreamers and collectors alike. And that is why, if you believe you have one, you should never treat it as ordinary, because its true power may be far greater than it appears. The 1993 Liberty Quarter Dollar is surrounded by stories that sound almost unreal, the kind of whispers that travel quietly among collectors and suddenly explode into legends. To the average person, it looks like an ordinary coin passed from hand to hand without a second thought. But to those who truly understand coins, this particular year has become a symbol of hidden fortune, a reminder that history sometimes disguises its greatest treasures in the most familiar forms. What makes this coin powerful is not just metal or date, but the mystery tied to it, the possibility that one silent piece could carry a value so high it can rewrite a life overnight. In rare situations, coins are born different. A small change during production, a moment of imbalance, or an unnoticed variation can turn an everyday quarter into something extraordinary. The 1993 Liberty Quarter is spoken of in this way, not as a regular issue, but as a coin that may exist in ultra-rare forms, strikingly unique and nearly impossible to find. These rare versions are believed to have details so sharp, surfaces so perfect, or features so unusual that collectors are willing to chase them endlessly. When such a coin appears, it doesn't just attract attention, it commands silence and respect. What truly fuels the imagination is the idea that this quarter could still be hiding in plain sight. It may rest in an old drawer, a forgotten jar, or a worn wallet, waiting for the right eyes to notice it. The thought that a single coin, no larger than your thumb, could hold a value reaching into the millions is what gives this story its power. It transforms ordinary change into a symbol of hope, proving that fortune doesn't always arrive loudly. Sometimes it arrives quietly, disguised as something you've held 1,000 times before.